We're Dynamic Logistics, the food shipping experts. What makes us food shipping experts? Glad you asked. First, we've built a well-connected, highly reliable food-grade carrier network that significantly improves OTIF compliance, streamlines delivery management, and complies with food-grade requirements like trailer washouts and seal processes. We know what food shippers really need, a dedicated account team to offer critical after-hours support. Dynamic Logistics, the food shipping experts.
Welcome to Running on Ice, the coolest community in freight. I'm your host, Mary O'Connell, bringing you the latest tech updates, warehouse news, and everything happening in the cold chain world. Not only is there the coolest show in freight, but there's also Running on Ice, the newsletter that could not be colder. You can subscribe to that on freightwaves.com/runningonIce. Today, we welcome Dany Gaviria, National Sales Manager at Polar King Mobile. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dany.
Thank you very much for inviting me to the show.
I love checking in with the whole Polar King team because you guys have some really cool stuff over there. I know last time we had a different Polar King mobile person on, but the other day I was driving around and I legitimately saw a Polar King mobile freezer in the wild. And I got so excited that I was like, I've seen it. I saw it. My husband that I was driving with though was not as excited. He was like, "Why do you care about a walk-in freezer?" And I'm like, "Because it's cool." So it turns out not everyone has the same enthusiasm that we do.
Not everybody knows and understands refrigeration, but it really seems to be the case that when you know a brand, now you see it everywhere. Before that, you will completely ignore it.
Exactly. It's like when you get a car and then you see all the other cars like yours on the road. But before we get too far into the beautiful world of refrigeration on the go and on the run and just wherever you want it to be, let's get some background on you and how you got started at Polar King Mobile.
So I actually got started in Polar King Mobile as a reference from my background in the trailer industry. So my full background is graphic design, marketing, and then jump into sales. So I have a full-on understanding of the three components that kind of make a company go in the sales aspect of it. So my previous position where I was a national sales manager, marketing and sales manager, kind of gave me all the basics to be able to get to where I'm at. And Polar King International heard of me, that I was no longer with that previous company, and they kind of approached me to be able to work with them. One of the biggest advantages that they saw in this relationship or this collaboration was the fact that I came with a trailer background and they had refrigeration. And as they came out with this Polar King Mobile combined project, now they understood that there was a need of having somebody that understands trailers and can relate to a trailer dealership network, which is the area that we collaborate in.
I like that your start in supply chain's a little unconventional, starting with the graphic design part of things, and then you just kind of weave your way into it. I have found that that's how like a lot of people end up in supply chain. They're not like growing up, like I'm sure growing up you weren't like, I want to be a sales manager for a freezer company. But it's just kind of funny how like everybody finds their way there. Because supply chain, if it will find you, it will find you.
So it you kind of fall into that sales representative as you understand. Nevertheless, in general, um, business or life is all about selling and how do you portray yourself and how do you talk to other individuals. But what I like about being in sales right now and having that marketing and graphic design background is that I could start a project on the graphic design. I could talk to marketers and then I could talk to the sales and customers. So I could see the whole cycle. And I also understand the part of finances and accounting that comes with it. So it's very usual for the sales department to be complaining about the marketing department and the marketing department complaining about the sales department. And it happens the same thing with accounting and finance. So they're always going to be complaining. But the fact that I've been in all the different positions, it allows me to understand how to approach the customer and also approach the different departments to see what is going to be good to develop a good prospecting and customer service relationship.
Those let's call them disagreements, sometimes are loud, between sales and marketing and all
Yeah.
the different departments. Those are very real, and I honestly don't know that those will ever go away as much as we all try and would love them to. But having been literally like caught in the middle of them, where you're just like, Mom and Dad, stop fighting in front of the children. It's a time-honored tradition throughout the years.
Yeah, no, to that point, I'm a firm believer that there's companies that divide the two departments, marketing and sales. But I am a firm believer that you should always have one sales and marketing manager that speaks both of the languages, so you avoid that confusion. Because then you have a BP of sales and a BP of marketing that do not speak to each other and they do not understand each other. So you're always going to be blaming the other one. So if you have just one BP of sales and marketing, you'll be able to understand everything.
Oh, 100%. I like that approach. Just kind of have it all come from one. But having things come from more than one location is kind of your guys' specialty. So you specifically Polar King Mobile, break it down a little bit. We had you guys on the show in the past, but that was a long time ago. So for those of us who might not remember, why don't you like give us a quick little breakdown of arguably why you guys have the coolest freezers and refrigerators around?
So Polar King Mobile, it's a small little company, part of a bigger umbrella. So it's called Polar King International, and this company has been around for about 43 years, right? So the company um, specializes in refrigeration in general. There's cold storage places that we have all across the United States. And we also invented this box that is fiberglass refrigerated box. Those refrigerated boxes are used on walking coolers, outdoor and indoor walking coolers. Part of it is also the creation of trailers. Being able to have one in a mobile site where you could take it anywhere and be able to have it as backup or extra storage for the different restaurants, hotels, zoos, you name it, school districts. Um, so there's Polar King International, and then in the bottom we have a company called Polar Leasing, which is the walking cooler boxes that we lease all across the U.S. And there's Polar King Mobile, which is started about 5 years, just giving a full focus on just trailers and creating them an actual OEM that will actually just create trailers with refrigeration. And what we use is, and what makes it so different, is our box. Our box could be exposed to any type of environment. It's fiberglass inside and out, NSF certified, and it has 4-inch insulation. But with the idea of the fiberglass, you could actually increase that insulation as much as you can, as much as you want, to be able to increase that refrigeration or that R value. But what's unique about it is also that it doesn't have any seams inside and out, which allows it, so it doesn't allow the air to escape or any bacteria to grow. Um, all of this combined with good refrigeration units that we put in our boxes or our trailers.
That is well, there's two things that I love about your guys' units, and one is the no seams on the inside. As someone who has had to clean a walk-in before many times, those seams, I have very strong feelings about those, and none of them are positive. The other thing I have is that because of that like extra insulation, you like I'm sure you guys have tested this, but have you guys ever like stuck a a unit in the middle of like the desert and like just said, okay, keep it frozen. And like while it's like 120 degrees beating down on you. Have you guys tested that?
Yeah, so actually, it's funny that you mentioned that one of one of our dealers in Arizona last week was facing that 128 degrees in Arizona last week, and we had multiple trailers out being able to fulfill that need of being a freezing temperature. So we haven't had any problems with that. We also have our heat chamber at the factory, and we test all of those things before we ship it out.
I really want to see. this is also just like who I am as a person. I love the research and like the testing of like the ruggedability, the durability, and all that other stuff, because you literally just get to try and break something, which I understand, like from a product design point, you're like, we don't really want to break the thing that we just created. But at
Yeah.
the same time, like it's fun to know those limits. I really just want to like spend a day with your heat chamber people and be like, how high can we get it to go before like we start melting it? And I completely made this up, but I feel like that it should be able to exist on the surface of the sun, like a Polar King unit. How we get it there? No, not sure. Not sure. I don't feel like NASA's caught up to that yet. But when they do, I'm putting a Polar King mobile unit on the surface of the sun.
I am not sure how hot it has gotten before, um, or how hot have they tested it before. But I do know that we could compare it from the Phoenix heat in Arizona to the Atlanta, Georgia, with 100% humidity. So we have known that the product performs and it does very well. It's like all this testing is really hard to tell when people says, "Oh, how long would it take if the unit starts failing? How long would it take to get cold? Or how long can I be on the road without it being plugged or anything like that?" It's always really difficult to understand with the environment outside. Okay, what's the temperature outside? How long are you going to be riding? How long are you going to be doing this? First thing that I said is just don't open the door. We have tested it, and it takes about 8 to 6 hours for that temperature to start dropping, and it could change to just 20 degrees. We have tested several things, but the first thing that I say is don't open the door and just leave it alone and get to a plug as soon as you can, or get to a place where you could move the product that you have inside um, to a different cooler right away.
I like the approach is the same that when like I lose power at my house is don't open the door to the fridge, don't open the door to the freezer, like just leave it alone, nobody touch it. Like this is just what we're doing. I like that that approach still applies on like a very practical, much larger scale. Because it makes sense because the second like you open that, all that cool air goes out, and if there's nothing to like bring it back, you're just literally just destroying your stuff faster.
Yeah, yeah. I 100% agree. You just have to be, unless you have a generator that you're ready to go, but most of us don't own a generator most of the time. So
So when it comes to speaking of generators, well, could you run a Polar King unit off of a generator?
yeah, yeah. So the Polar Key mobiles actually are very efficient on that. So you can plug it to any 110 plug. The three sizes, the 8 footer, the 12 footer, and the 16 footer, and even the 20 footer. You can plug it to a generator. We recommend a 4400 uh, watt generator for the smaller units, and for the bigger units, and we recommend 9500.
That is really cool. That just randomly popped into my head because I was going to ask you, like, how do you power a unit? Do you like just plug it into the wall? If I am a school and I need some extra space, how do I power the unit? Do I plug it into the wall? Do I have like a thing that I feed gas to, like a reefer unit on a tractor trailer? Like, what are those power options looking like?
It's a 110 plug, so any regular plug, 15 amp. Just make sure that you don't have the microwave on the same circuit, and you'll be totally fine. So that's what makes this 8 footer, 12 footer, and a 16 footer very unique. You could take it anywhere and plug it anywhere, technically. So that's why it's so convenient and fast response for your local McDonald's, for your local Chick-fil-A, that when the power goes down, they right away have somewhere to plug it in there.
That I wonder if you could run a hair dryer on the same circuit. I'm just
That would be a
messing
good
with you
question.
on
I'm
that
I'm
part.
gonna go ahead and call Fort Wayne, Indiana, and make sure that they test it.
Can you run a hair dryer on the same
Yeah,
circuit?
yeah, I've been getting
Um,
those questions. You never know what type of questions you're going to get.
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when it comes to, you've kind of mentioned some of the customers that you guys have or some of the places that it could be. What are the most common applications that you guys have seen for the mobile refrigeration units? Like, do you see it most commonly at grocery stores, hospitals, restaurants? Like, what's the big fan of you guys?
So when I started selling refrigeration. I've had some experience before I jumped to Porter King Mobile, but I really thought the basic need was just catering, right? I thought about food trucks, catering, ice right away. But there's so many different industries that use these trailers. The main ones that I can mention in here is backup and extra storage refrigeration. So our main users are people that will have a walk-in cooler go down. They need one of these trailers right away to be able to protect that, all the food or all the product that is inside. So for them, losing 40,000 or 50,000 or sometimes, $60,000, $100,000 in product, it's easier just to go ahead and take it out, put it on one of these mobile refrigeration units, and let it sit during the time that you get a tag or you get some parts to come back and they fix the walk-in cooler. So that's the number one use. And with that use comes school districts, disaster relief, restaurants, hospitals, zoos. Everybody seems to be using it for that specific situation. So although it's mobile, you do not see them on the road all the time. It really tends to be that specific situation when a walk-in cooler goes down. One of these trailers will be efficient and direct because it plugs to 110. Or somebody could just tow it and be there in less than an hour. So many different industries, most of them with that specific use in mind.
I mean, that would make a lot of sense because I mean, I live pretty close to the St. Louis Zoo, and the sheer like number of things that they order that has to stay, like whether it's watermelons for a hippo or crickets for whatever disgusting number of insects that they have inside that thing, and the entire reptilian area that I refuse to go in. But like, you need to have those because ultimately, like, that's just like a waste. Like, if, for example, in the case of a zoo, if that product goes bad, that potentially could be a couple days worth of food for my animals. And, we can't have those guys go hungry. And so that's just kind of I feel like I would almost have one all the time. As I'm sure you would love to hear this.
Yeah.
I would love to have one all the time as an insurance policy. And you're like, we would
Yeah.
happily give that to you.
We'll ship one right away. Let's sign on the dotted line. What we And that's the same case scenario with food pantries or school districts, right? School districts could have 15 schools in that same area, and each one has 2 to 4 walk-in coolers inside. So imagine all that food for all the kids during the summer. All of that cannot go bad. So they need one of these right away. And the walk-in cooler filling number, it's really high on the summer. So having one of these units in handy, it's very convenient.
Yeah. And if you just want to keep one on site at the ready in case anything fails, just go ahead and give Dany a call. He'll happily drop one off for you.
Exactly. That's that. Funny enough, a lot of these school districts just have multiple ready to go. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like you'd have to. Otherwise, like, if like it goes down and you try to shove as much as you can in the one that's working, and then like put it in your car and drive it to the other school that hopefully has space and functionality.
Yeah.
That's just that's the job that I would not want to be, is the person that drives the food back and forth. Because then once
Yep.
it's up and running, you have to drive it all back.
Yep. Yeah.
So one of the things this came out, I think, a couple months ago. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You probably know, you for sure know better than I do. But you guys came out with this drop deck mobile unit. Can you break that bad boy down for us a little bit? Like, why the drop deck?
It's a very unique product. It's a very unique use as well. But what we sell with this drop deck idea, we partnered up with the best partner that we could have been with, which is Nobe. The manufacturer product that is called SureTrack. And this product drops all the way to the ground to be able to allow safety and labor costs go down. So in refrigeration, one of the things that we deal with is slips and also condensation, etc., when it comes to the safety part of it. And also when you're carrying heavy pallets of ice or heavy boxes, all of that came into mind when we came into this product, right? So I come from the drop deck industry in the trailers, And what we call drop deck is just trailers that allow to be touch the ground, and you are able to load something on a padded jack, or you're able to load them on um, dolly, right? A box.
Mm-hmm.
So I invite you guys to watch the video. I was actually acting on that video and showing them how easy it is. So it's very nice because I was actually able to use the product and able to see if it was actually easy, something that we were selling, right? But it really is. It really makes things easier. So um, it came about with the idea of safety and labor costs once again, and SureTrack and Nobe being the best partner for that. These trailers are intended to carry high capacity equipment, and us putting the box on top of it just kind of combined perfect. And matter of fact, we've sold plenty of them this year for school district and disaster reliefs. Just because sometimes government money or sometimes school district money, they are looking for the best, and they're also trying to protect that equipment. So they're trying to protect their employees. So it came about with the idea of offering a different solution, especially to ice industry, especially to somebody that is moving the products back and forward all the time. The capacity to lower to the ground was just such a nice fit. Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that because, like you said, a lot of these places, it takes a lot of funding and money to get the equipment that they need. So they're going to take the extra steps to do it. And also, like if you're in a school or if you're in disaster relief, as you were saying, the last thing you need is like a slip and fall where something goes wrong. Not that anyone should ever want that in their life,
Yeah.
because that just sounds horrible.
Well, there is a factor, and it's workers' compensation. So we do have a large number in there of people being hurt from lift gates, box trucks,
Hmm.
right? And that's what we usually see on our regular Cisco trucks or USDA trucks. It's just those lift gates, and we're trying to avoid that by going with the Avalanche. But um, it's going to be really hard to top such a nice product. It's this Avalanche product and with the partnership with SureTrack and Nobe, it has been great, and it has been a great addition to the Polar King Mobile family.
So speaking of topping it, we have a couple minutes left. So I've got, before we get to our famous last question, what is new? What's gonna come out and be in the running to top the Avalanche?
So it's not going to be anything. I don't think there's going to be anything that is going to top the Avalanche on that specific category. I mean, I'm talking about top-notch company that we partner with that is 30 years plus in the making of trailers. But we have a new addition to the Porter King Mobile family. It is the 20-foot refrigerated trailer, which has already been running in the market for less than a month, and we already have sold multiple. Nobody else offers it. It comes in our regular standard PKM or Polar King mobile frame. It does not drop to the ground, although we are working with SureTrack to be able to adjust it and offer a drop down 20-footer. But it really makes a difference when people want to divide the trailer and have refrigeration and freezer in one side. It's big enough for more produce. The only difference is that this unit is going to plug to 220, so the power is going to be more. We have tested it to be 0 to 50 degrees. We are testing it more to see. We believe we might be able to achieve minus 10 on such a large scale, but on these bigger places like disaster relief, power is not an issue. That's why we went with the 220, and it seems to be a hit. This specific unit comes with the side door, so we don't have to be opening the big back door. It comes with reinforcement for the ceiling, so you could hang deer and meat. And it also comes with a capacity of 9,300 pound,
Jeez.
capacity inside. So it's a very massive trailer with really good industry innovation that comes with it. So I think this 20-footer is going to be a hit, as well as the Avalanche has been for the past, we came out with the Avalanche last October. This August, we're going to finally or announce it. on the 20-footer, but all of our dealers are already stocking some of those. So it's going to be available fairly quickly.
You guys really said we're swinging for the fences, and I absolutely love that. Heck yeah, go bigger. Why not, you know?
It's what the industry was asking us for, so we kept
I mean,
getting
that's a
requests.
pretty good
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, it's everybody was asking, and nobody else produces something like that, right? I feel like our 12-footers and our 16-footers were in the middle between, okay, this is just good enough or big
Mhm.
enough, but some of these restaurants or some of these uh, places were requesting something bigger to be able to put all the products in there. So the 20-footer is going to be able to achieve that. And where we saw the biggest requests were coming from disaster relief. They kept asking us for a 20-footer. So the capacity, the heavy duty that comes with that, and the length of it, it's definitely a game changer, and it's taking the industry by surprise, and is going to replace a lot of those 40-foot box trucks or trailers that are going around that most of the time they're half empty. So this 20-footer will be able to achieve that and not be small enough. It's big enough just to be able to accomplish that.
I love it. A good old fashioned just listen and provide what our customers want, you know? It's not, I don't feel like that's asking for too much.
we're just listening.
All right. So, Dany, there's a question that everybody comes on the show has to answer, and you're not going to be an exception today. Is cereal considered a soup?
I do not think so. I'm a lover of cereal, and I do not think it's a soup, because if it was soup, then I wouldn't be having it in first thing in the morning, right? Although I gotta tell you, I'm Colombian and we do have a soup based on milk. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, we make this
Hmm.
soup instead of water, we make it with milk, and it's actually very delicious. But no, cereal is not a soup.
I'm glad that you're on the correct side of this argument. There are others, and I understand, but I do not agree. You know, I understand where they're coming from. It's just, it's not it, you know, because also when you go to the grocery store, cereal's in one aisle and soup's in another, and they're not next to each other. So
No, they're not. They're not. And you're not gonna have them first thing in the morning or late at night when you're getting those cravings,
it's just
right?
not it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Where can everybody find you if they, you know, want the new hottest trailer in town?
You could find us at polarkeenmobile.com, or you could email me at danny@polarkeen.com.
Fabulous. You guys heard it here first. Dany's DMs are open for trailer related things. Don't be weird.
Please.
Um, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for this amazing interview.
You can catch other episodes of Running on Ice right here on FreightWaves TV, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts like Apple Podcast and Spotify. Need more Running on Ice news? No sweat. Subscribe to the newsletter on freightwaves.com/runningonIce. See you on the internet.